Close your eyes for 1 second and picture this. A Hollywood couple, perfectly styled, perfectly rehearsed, perfectly packaged, standing at the edge of a cliff they built themselves. For years, the world believed every single thing they showed us. The funny tweets, the red carpet kisses, the adorable family photos, the charity headlines, the quick-witted husband who could charm anyone, the effortlessly beautiful wife who made everything look easy. We bought it. Every single one of us bought it. But here is the thing about a perfectly constructed image. The moment one single crack appears, the whole thing doesn't slowly crumble. It collapses. And right now, in May 2026, we are watching that collapse happen in real time. We are watching Ryan Reynolds walk onto one of the last great late-night stages in America. And instead of charming the room the way he always did, the room goes quiet in a way nobody expected. We are watching Blake Lively walk the steps of the Met Gala just hours after one of the most explosive lawsuits in Hollywood history quietly settles. And instead of celebration, the internet erupts in suspicion. We are watching a charity story surface that is making people ask questions nobody in their PR team wants answered. And we are watching a powerful couple discover that the playbook that made them famous no longer works. Stay right here, because everything you think you know about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds is about to get a lot more complicated. Before we go any further, if you are new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button right now and smash that bell icon so you never miss a video. We cover the stories that go deeper than the headlines, the stories nobody else is connecting the dots on. You are exactly in the right place. Now let's get into it. Let's start with what triggered all of this. On May 21st, 2026, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert aired its final episode ever. After an 11-year run on CBS, after more than 3 decades of the show existing in one form or another since David Letterman first sat behind that desk back in 1993, it was over. CBS had announced the cancellation back in July 2025, citing what they called a purely financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night. The finale was meant to be a celebration, and by most accounts, it was. Paul McCartney served as the final guest and performed the Beatles' Hello Goodbye. Jon Stewart was there. Bryan Cranston showed up. Paul Rudd walked in carrying bananas as part of a running gag. It was emotional, it was packed with talent, and Colbert sent the whole thing off beautifully. But nestled inside all of that, Ryan Reynolds made a cameo. And that cameo is what the internet has not stopped talking about. The setup was this. A string of celebrities kept walking out pretending each of them was going to be Colbert's final guest. Paul Rudd did it. Tig Notaro did it. She hilariously said she wasn't even trying to be the final guest. She just likes attending historic events. Sweet. Then Ryan Reynolds walked out. He delivered his lines, telling Colbert he was there to pay respects to one of the world's greatest entertainers. When Colbert thanked him, Ryan quickly clarified. He was actually talking about Colbert's keyboardist, Corey Bernhard. He then walked over to Bernhard, hugged him, touched his beard, handed him 6 bananas, and refused to let go even while Bernhard jokingly said, "Please stop demaying me." Ryan's response? Never. Now, on paper, in a vacuum, in 2019 internet culture, that's probably a perfectly harmless, quirky, Ryan Reynolds kind of bit. Self-aware humor. Poking fun at himself. Classic Deadpool energy. But this is 2026. And Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are not living in a vacuum. Here is what people online immediately zeroed in on. The audience reaction was delayed. The laugh was uncomfortable. The whole segment felt, as dozens of commenters described it, forced. And that matters. Because Ryan Reynolds built his entire public brand on making things look effortless. The sarcasm that felt natural. The self-deprecation that felt genuine. The charm that made you feel like you were in on the joke with him, not watching him perform the joke at you. But lately, audiences are sensing the performance. And once you sense the performance, the spell breaks. But more than the awkwardness, it was the content of the joke itself that got people talking. Because in the months and years leading up to this moment, Blake Lively has been at the center of serious public conversations. Conversations about workplace harassment, about alleged smear campaigns, about online bullying, about power dynamics between men and women in Hollywood. Heavy conversations. Real conversations. And here comes Ryan Reynolds on live television, making a bit centered around unwanted physical contact and refusing to stop even when someone jokingly says, "Please stop." Making a joke built on the energy of not leaving someone alone. Fair or unfair, that is the optics. And in 2026, optics are everything. Critics immediately called it tone-deaf. Social media started dissecting every frame. TikTok commentary videos multiplied. Even people who tried to defend Ryan ended up in the awkward position of having to explain the joke rather than laugh at it. And as any comedian will tell you, if you have to explain the joke didn't land. One of the most repeated observations online was this. Ryan Reynolds used to be untouchable on the internet. A few years ago, he and Blake were the internet's favorite celebrity couple. Funny tweets, playful interviews, red carpet chemistry. People adored them. But celebrity branding only works as long as the audience believes it's authentic. The second they sense manipulation, everything flips. The same behavior that once felt charming starts looking calculated. The same jokes start feeling rehearsed. That is exactly where Ryan and Blake find themselves right now. To understand why all of this is hitting differently in 2026, you need to understand what Blake Lively has been through legally over the past year and a half. It started with It Ends With Us, the 2024 film based on Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, in which Blake starred alongside director Justin Baldoni. Even during the promotional rollout of the film, people noticed tension. Blake was doing press with some of her co-stars. Baldoni was conspicuously absent from interviews. Something felt off. Then in December 2024, Blake filed a lawsuit against Baldoni, alleging sexual harassment on set and claiming that after she reported his alleged behavior, he and his team launched a coordinated smear campaign against her. A campaign she says caused her significant professional and financial damage. The total damages Blake sought eventually climbed to $550 million. Baldoni denied everything. He called the allegations false and claimed any negative press Blake received was organic, the result of her own behavior, not his team's actions. In January 2025, Baldoni and his associates filed a $400 million countersuit against Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist, alleging defamation, extortion, and invasion of privacy. That countersuit was eventually dismissed by the courts in June 2025. But Blake's case kept moving forward. It moved toward a trial date set for May 18, 2026. The two were even ordered to appear together at a New York federal courthouse in February 2026 for a mandatory settlement conference. The first time they had been in the same room in years. Blake arrived alone. Baldoni came with his wife. 6 hours of talks. No settlement. Both sides headed to trial. And then, just hours before Blake walked the steps of the 2026 Met Gala on May 4th, a settlement was announced. No money exchanged hands. Both sides issued a joint statement saying the film It Ends With Us was a source of pride and expressing a commitment to workplaces free of impropriety. Blake's motion for attorney's fees and treble damages under California's 2023 Protecting Survivors from Weaponized Defamation Lawsuits Act remains pending, meaning this is not entirely over. And notably, the settlement contains no non-disclosure agreement, which means Justin Baldoni can now potentially write a book, give interviews, and tell his version of events publicly. Reports are already emerging that he is weighing a deal potentially worth $10 million or more to share his side of the story. So yes, the lawsuit is settled, but the story is absolutely not. Now let's talk about that Met Gala appearance, because this is where things get genuinely fascinating from a PR standpoint. Blake Lively had not attended the Met Gala since 2022, the year she and Ryan co-chaired the event, and she delivered one of the most celebrated looks in Met Gala history. A Statue of Liberty-inspired Versace gown that literally transformed on the carpet. It was a moment. People talked about it for months. In 2023, she skipped. In 2024, her legal issues were escalating. In 2025, she and Ryan both stayed away entirely. But on May 4th, 2026, just hours after the Baldoni settlement dropped, Blake walked into the Met Gala solo, in an archival pastel Versace gown, carrying a custom Judith Lieber bag personalized with artwork made by her 4 children. Ryan Reynolds was not there. Sources close to the situation say Ryan's absence was intentional, reportedly tied to Blake wanting to reclaim the spotlight on her own terms. According to insiders, the decision was strategic, a deliberate effort to let Blake reintroduce herself to Hollywood without her husband standing next to her. And the next day, Ryan posted a rare makeup-free selfie of the two of them on his Instagram stories, immediately shutting down any rumors of tension in their marriage and showing the world, "We are fine, we are together, everything is good." Every single beat of this felt coordinated, and critics immediately pointed that out. Comments online ranged from skeptical to outright hostile. One person wrote that going to Gucci and Fendi events while claiming to care about women's safety was not helping her cause. Another said her PR team, meaning Ryan, is completely out of touch with regular people. But there were also defenders. People who said Blake has every right to celebrate the end of a bruising legal battle. People who pointed out that attending the Met Gala is exactly what someone who has just settled a major lawsuit should do. Show the world you are still standing. The truth, as always, probably lives somewhere in the middle. But what is undeniable is this. Every appearance Blake makes right now is being scrutinized under a microscope. And that is not going away anytime soon. And now we get to the part of this story that I think is genuinely the most damaging long-term. Not the Colbert cameo, Not the Met Gala entrance, not even the lawsuit itself. It is the charity conversation. News Nation recently published a deep investigation into what they described as celebrities weaponizing charity during public relations crises. The piece looked at multiple Hollywood figures and the pattern of philanthropy appearing at suspiciously convenient moments during reputation damage. Blake Lively's name came up directly. Here is the specific story that is getting renewed attention. Back in 2019, at the height of the Black Lives Matter movement and following significant backlash about Blake and Ryan getting married at a plantation venue in South Carolina, headlines celebrated that the couple pledged $2 million to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and the Young Center for Immigrant Children's Rights. $2 million. That was the headline. That was the number people celebrated. That was the number that helped quiet some of the criticism. But according to later reports, and confirmed in the News Nation investigation, the actual amount eventually announced was $200,000. Not $2 million, $200,000. One PR expert quoted in the piece put it bluntly. The instinct is to pledge the larger number because it makes a way better headline, and then what they actually give is something different entirely. Now, Blake did address the plantation wedding backlash directly during her deposition in the Baldoni case. She told Baldoni's lawyer that the negative press about the venue was deserved, called it a mistake they have publicly acknowledged, and said they did a lot of work to reconcile it for themselves and others. That is at least honest accountability on the record. But the gap between the $2 million announcement and the $200,000 reality has given critics new ammunition. And those critics are now drawing comparisons to the Amber Heard situation during the Johnny Depp trial, where Heard's announced donation to the ACLU became one of the most damaging elements of her public credibility collapse when it was revealed the full amount had not been paid. Audiences hate nothing more than feeling emotionally manipulated by a charity pledge that turns out to be different from what was announced. And now there are fresh rumors circulating that Blake may publicly attach herself to causes around domestic violence awareness and anti-online bullying legislation, areas that connect directly to her own public narrative from the Baldoni lawsuit. The News Nation piece also referenced Naomi Campbell's Fashion for Relief charity, launched in 2005 right as Campbell was facing serious personal assault allegations from staff and assistants. That charity was later dissolved by the UK Charity Commission after a tribunal found that only 8.1% of all funds raised actually went to charitable expenditures. The rest reportedly funded luxury hotel rooms, flights, and personal security. Campbell's lawyers claimed she had no knowledge of how funds were being managed. Now, nobody is accusing Blake Lively of anything like that. But that is the context people online are placing these conversations in. And once a pattern gets named, once people start calling it celebrity philanthropy as image repair, everything that follows gets viewed through that lens. The real question PR experts keep raising is the one of consistency. Are these celebrities still supporting the same causes years later when nobody is watching? Or does the activism quietly disappear once the scandal fades? That question is now directly attached to Blake Lively's name. And here is the thing that makes all of this bigger than just Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Hollywood's traditional PR machine is collapsing. And Blake and Ryan are just two of the most visible examples of celebrities discovering, too late, that the old tools no longer work the way they used to. For decades, celebrities had almost complete narrative control. Magazine covers, carefully managed interviews, paparazzi relationships where photographers were tipped off just enough to get the right shots, entertainment reporters who played ball. Everything was filtered. Everything was polished. Everything was approved. And then social media changed everything. Now one awkward clip goes viral and millions of people start dissecting it frame by frame within hours. Ryan's banana moment on the Colbert finale? 10 years ago that disappears instantly. In 2026 it becomes TikTok discourse, YouTube commentary, Twitter threads, reaction memes, and multi-day analysis about hypocrisy and performative sincerity. The late-night show format itself is gone now. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, one of the last pillars of traditional celebrity image management, has aired its final episode. The format that allowed celebrities to control their narrative through charming, rehearsed conversation with a friendly host, ending. And audiences have fundamentally changed too. They are more cynical. They are more skeptical. They have seen too many PR moves to be fooled easily anymore. A glamorous paparazzi moment used to reset public opinion. A funny late-night interview used to smooth over controversy. A big charity headline used to instantly restore goodwill. Now the first question audiences ask is not how wonderful. It's what's the motive? And once audiences start questioning motives instead of reacting emotionally, celebrity image control becomes exponentially harder. The same behavior that once felt charming starts looking calculated. The same jokes start feeling rehearsed. The same paparazzi moments start feeling staged. The same charity announcements start feeling transactional. That is the stage Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are at. And the Colbert appearance made it worse at exactly the wrong time. What is genuinely interesting about where Blake and Ryan find themselves is that they seem to be running completely different PR strategies right now. And the contrast between them is becoming impossible to ignore. Blake's strategy is silence, beauty, and controlled appearances. She is keeping her statements minimal. She lets the visual, the Versace gown, the makeup-free selfie, the children's artwork on the handbag, speak for her. She is attempting to soften public perception without opening herself up to direct questioning. No long sit-down interviews. No emotional confessionals. No unscripted live moments where she could lose control of the narrative. Is it working? Partially. The fashion coverage has been warm. Certain entertainment outlets are softening their tone. The settlement removed the most immediately damaging element, the specter of a public trial with daily new revelations. But Ryan's strategy? Ryan's strategy still seems to be, if I crack enough jokes, people will stop looking so closely. And the problem is that audiences are no longer distracted by the jokes. They are paying closer attention because of them. One crisis PR expert quoted in coverage of their situation put it plainly. The smartest move for someone in Blake's position is not a defensive or polished PR statement. It is a direct, human response that shows self-awareness. Authenticity over polish. Ownership over deflection. Some battles cannot be fought by your team. Ryan seemingly has not gotten that memo. He is still performing the old version of himself. And the audience, which has been burned by that old version, is watching with completely different eyes now. One particularly cutting observation making the rounds online noted that Blake's current silence is actually more strategic than anything Ryan is doing publicly. She knows that speaking too much right now could backfire catastrophically. So she stays quiet and lets the visuals do their work. Ryan still acts like he is living in 2019 internet culture, where a sarcastic, self-aware joke automatically earns goodwill. He is not. And that gap between where Ryan thinks the public is and where the public actually is, that gap is getting wider every time he appears on camera. So where does all of this go from here? First, Justin Baldoni. He has no NDA. He is reportedly weighing a major deal to tell his side of the story publicly. If that happens, every headline that Blake and Ryan's team has carefully managed over the past several months could be reopened instantly. Every settlement statement, every Met Gala photo, every makeup-free Instagram selfie. All of it becomes the backdrop against which a new Baldoni narrative gets told. Second, Blake's pending motion for attorney's fees and treble damages under California law is still alive. The legal story is not fully over. Third, the charity questions are not going away. If Blake does move forward with publicly attaching herself to domestic violence or anti-bullying causes, every move will be scrutinized for authenticity. Supporters will celebrate it. Critics will call it image repair. The timing makes it almost impossible to separate the two. And fourth, Ryan Reynolds' public image problem is becoming its own separate crisis. A crisis that is starting to bleed into Blake's rehabilitation efforts rather than helping them. The only thing that consistently works long-term in celebrity reputation repair is the one thing that is the hardest to manufacture: genuine consistency over time. Showing up for the same causes when nobody is watching. Letting years pass and still being associated with the same values. Allowing the public to slowly rebuild trust not through staged moments, but through a quiet, sustained record. That takes time. It takes humility. It takes actually reading the room, which is something that Colbert Moment suggested Ryan is still struggling to do. Whether Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have the patience and the self-awareness to play the long game is the question nobody around them seems able to answer yet. Here is what I keep coming back to after looking at all of this. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are not the first Hollywood couple to discover that the image they built doesn't hold up under pressure. They will not be the last. But what makes their situation so fascinating to watch in real time is how clearly it illustrates the moment we are in, a moment where audiences have developed an almost allergic reaction to anything that feels performed, where charity feels transactional, where humor feels like avoidance, where silence feels strategic. Every move these two make from this point forward will be watched and judged not for what it is, but for what it might be hiding. And that is an extraordinarily difficult place for any public figure to live. The real story of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds in 2026 is not the lawsuit, not the Colbert cameo, not the charity questions, not the Met Gala moment. The real story is this: a couple who once controlled every single piece of their public narrative has lost that control. And right now, they have not figured out how to get it back. If you found this video valuable, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and drop a comment below telling me what you think. Is Blake Lively's rehabilitation working? Is Ryan Reynolds making things worse? I read every single comment. See you in the next one.